But the primary mistake from my vantage point is mistake number two, that I looked at the intake meeting as a spot, a single point of truth. I love a good acronym. They are mnemonic devices for me as I age. I need them to remember things. So I've since had to adapt my strategy and stop looking at intake meetings as spots. And I've learned that I need to elevate the intake. And this is exactly what an elevated intake meeting looks like. They're a lot of fun. I've sat in on several. So I have to thank John Vlastelica of Recruiting Toolbox for the inspiration to change something as simple as the naming convention of this meeting. And so I now call those meetings, formerly known as intake meetings, strategy sessions. And whereas an intake meeting is a single flow, it's a one way stream of information, a strategy session is collaborative and data driven and structured. And my strategy sessions are now typically 45 to 60 minutes. And what I love about my current role is that the entire team attends. So the talent coordinator, the talent partner, which is the recruiter, and the talent strategist, which is the sourcer. And we make sure collectively to set the expectation that this conversation will continue. Now, to open source my workflow a bit, I want to give you a glimpse at some of the questions that are now asked during the strategy session. So I'll give you a moment to review this slide. I think one of the toughest questions for me to start integrating into the conversation is the last question of how much time can you invest each week? But I found that it really leads to some interesting discussions, specifically around time to fill, what the market looks like, and really what a realistic amount of time is to dedicate to this role as a hiring manager. So it gives me an opportunity to really serve as an advisor. And I think you can really use that as you start building that relationship with the hiring manager. There are a couple other things that I do to go beyond the intake meeting. And one of them is called Probe the Pro. That's when I talk to someone who's actually in the role, the professional who's working in the role. The other thing I like to do is something I like to call Message the Manager. And that's where I develop my outreach or the sample message that I'm going to be sending out for customization. And I'll send it to the hiring manager as if I'm trying to recruit him or her for the job that's actually open in their team or on their team. I want to share with you the response from a hiring manager who I messaged in this way. Now, what I love about this message is that he says, I'm working with you to build my team. Now, that to me sounds like a partnership in the making. And isn't that what we want to be viewed as? Strategic partners, not sourcing waiters and waitresses who come to this intake meeting with a notepad. We scribble down an order of wish list qualities that we're looking for in a candidate, and then we run to the back of the diner and come back with a candidate on a plate. That's not what we want, is it? Is it? Well, maybe sometimes that would be nice, but for the most part, we are looking to be viewed as strategic, thinking, collaborative members of a team. So, messaging the manager is just one of those things that I do to start building that relationship with the hiring manager. To open source my workflow a bit, I want to share with you how I've learned to use Google Alerts for diversity sourcing. So on the left, you basically see the steps that you would take if you want to set up a Google alert. And Google Alerts, just if you're not familiar with them, they send you an update when your search terms appear on the web. So what you see on that yellow post-it is an actual search string that I used during my time at Google back in 2013. And I was looking for female winners of coding competitions or hackathons. So this particular alert brought back an article one day that highlighted 5 female winners of different hackathons that had taken place in the Bay Area. So as I went through those 5 first and last names and started researching, I found one of the young ladies on Twitter. So I immediately followed her. And then I paused because I really needed to do more research and get my strategy a little bit tighter before I reached out. Well, before I could reach out to her, she messaged me. And this is our screenshot from 2013. I'll give you a minute to just check it out. Now, this is one of those magical moments of sourcing where something just falls right into your lap. So, the short story is that we did have lunch. I got her some swag from the Google store. My manager approved that purchase. She interviewed, she got the offer, and she promptly declined it. She chose to go to a startup in New York. The beauty is that we're still in touch. I reached out to her to congratulate her on the career move she's making. She actually reached out not too long ago asking for a referral for a recruiter at a company she's working for. And so this Google alert has actually helped me forge a relationship and build a relationship with a woman of color in tech. So it's really, really been great. Now, not every Google alert is about a candidate name. I often use Google alerts to help me generate ideas, to help me build search strings, or even for places I can look for candidates. And most importantly, I think Google alerts has given me a lot of good talking points during my phone screenings, just to kind of see what's going on in the industry. So, Google alerts is a great tool. I highly recommend it. I hope some of this is helpful to you. Again, tweet me at Talent Genie if you have a question or if you hear something that sparks an idea of how you can enhance your daily workflow in some small way. I think that sharing ideas is how we all grow and learn. And a lot of what I've learned in the past 4 years, I've pivoted from full cycle recruiter on the G&A side to technical sourcer, has come from what I've learned from my virtual mentors. I'm speaking of Irina and Johnny, Shally and Jim and Glenn. A lot of the best practices that they share online have really fueled a lot of the learnings that I've had the privilege to experience. And so they are five of the reasons that I value this sourcing community so much. Big shout out to my sourcing senseis.